All right, coming up, Joe Gale out there in Montgomery County is with us to kind of give us a sense of what it was like with Val Arkoosh, who perfectly fits Montgomery County. She'd be at home in Philadelphia, I believe. And also, what happens next? Now that the big power is not there, Val Arkoosh, could we see a little turnaround here in Little Philadelphia, Montgomery County? So let's go to Joe Gale, who is the minority commissioner, the Republican, along with Val Arkoosh and her stooge du jour, who might be, I guess, the new head commissioner. See what he thinks on Talk Radio 1210. Hey, Joe, thanks for contacting me. It is good to take a look at Val Arkoosh. You had to serve under this, but as I said, she's an example of the transformation of the suburbs, I believe.
Sure is. She defines a liberal suburb Democrat nowadays, and she placated to her base her entire term as the chairwoman of Montgomery County Board of Commissioners. And I was notorious for always being an agitator that would drive her nuts because I did my best to counter her radical liberalism all along the way. And I'm not shocked that she's now part of Josh Shapiro's gubernatorial administration. And it's important that we have those checks and balances in the Philadelphia suburbs because it's a Democrat stronghold. Montgomery County was the first suburb county to flip back in 2011 when Josh Shapiro first won county commissioner. And ever since then, the Democrat registration continues to grow. And as that Democrat registration continues to grow, you see the liberalism forced down our throats. And Val Arkoosh was a prime example of that with her handling of COVID-19. We were to the left of every other county in Pennsylvania when it came down to school shutdowns and mask mandates. That was her claim to fame, and I did my best to combat against that.
Joe, do you think, you mentioned 2011, people that are new listeners and new people, and you probably encountered this, they don't have the living history since a kid that you've been following all this stuff. She was the first woman since 1784, I think I saw the other day, but more importantly, Montgomery County used to be just not Republican, but Republican stronghold du jour and kind of the template of the affluent, educated, sort of small government, you know, not a conservative as you and I might like, but that type. And when the Matthews reign started, it started to unravel. But as the other force, are these people, Joe, people that are moving from places like Philadelphia into Montgomery County, or is this becoming more homegrown as we saw in the last midterm?
It's been a long time in the making. So over the last several decades, there was an influx of residents that were Democrats from Philadelphia that moved to Montgomery County and the surrounding suburbs and brought their Democrat registration with them. And I believe the Republican Party did a bad job of pushing the message forward. Hey, why are you moving out to the suburbs? You want safe streets. You want low taxes. That was because of conservative government. But unfortunately, the Republican Party became Democrat-like. We were the bastion of all the rhinos, if you go back to about 20 years ago. And now it's gone. And this shakeup with Val Arkoosh now creating the vacancy on the board, make no mistake about it. The goal of both the Democrat establishment and the Republican Party establishment is to get rid of me. They don't want me as the minority Republican commissioner on the board because I'm extremely outspoken and I resist that liberal agenda that they force down our throats. And they would much prefer a Republican lapdog that plays ball and goes along to get along with the two Democrat majority commissioners. That's how Democrat Montgomery County has become. So to give you an idea, back in the midterm in 2022, Josh Shapiro beat Doug Mastriano in the governor's race by 40 points in Montgomery County. So it is no longer competitive. The days of Montgomery County being a red county are long gone. And the Republican Party swamp is content with that. They just want a seat at the table where they can make deals for crumbs. They can get their cronies some bond counsel, legal work at the law firm, or some road work for their buddy that has a construction company. That's literally why these people are in business. And back in my first race in 2015, I ran unendorsed. I didn't have the backing of the Republican Party. And I won in a huge upset. And ever since, I remained totally independent of the Republican Party establishment. And that's why I have a groundswell of supporters that follow me over the years. They realize that I'm beholden to no one except the families and taxpayers in Montgomery County. And I'm not afraid to fight the fight.
All right, Joe, well, let me ask you on some of those issues. Let's broaden it out. One, I'm told the courts decide this vacancy now, and does that mean another Democrat almost certainly or certainly?
Certainly. So by law, it has to be the same political party affiliation that replaces the vacated seat. So Arkoosh being a Democrat means she will be replaced by a Democrat. Now, this is nothing new to Montgomery County. Out of the 3-member board, I'm actually the only member of the Board of Commissioners that's originally elected to this seat. Val Arkoosh was originally appointed back in 2015 when Democrat Leslie Richards was appointed as Secretary of Transportation to Governor Wolf's cabinet. So she was originally appointed. And then the other Democrat, Ken Lawrence, was appointed when Democrat Josh Shapiro was elected Attorney General. And the process works is the Court of Common Pleas, the county judges, appoint another Democrat to fill that vacancy. And that being said, historically, it's usually a Democrat that's recommended and backed by the Democrat Party establishment.
Joe, what's the issue then? Let's boil it down to one issue. I know there's a whole range of things that you think still would work in Montgomery County, or is it gone? I mean, you can be minority, you have a following, all that, but to actually take control of it, is it kind of like Philadelphia? People complain. They see the violence level. We were talking about Mayfair, Joe, earlier in the show. And yet they don't connect the dots to a particular party. And I think it's subtle what's going on, or more subtle. But Valerie Arkoosh and her minions have wrecked Montgomery County. There's no doubt the lockdown, these people still complain about it, the loss of learning that's not coming back. She did it. But the connecting the dots seems to be difficult. What is it that has to be done?
It's very difficult. And again, the Republican Party is not interested in switching anything around or converting liberal minds to conservative minds. They want a piece of the action when it comes to getting rich off our tax dollars. But you covered it all week. Springfield Township, Montgomery County, that's an all Democrat-controlled Board of Commissioners there. And out of all the issues facing society, they were worried about the law enforcement flag with the thin blue line. Why? Because they're placating their liberal base. So it's so far gone that these municipalities, the county level government, they can do things like eliminate the law enforcement thin blue line flag because they have absolutely no political consequences. And you saw it recently. It was all over the media when Val Arkoosh and Ken Lawrence, the 2 majority Democrat commissioners, voted to increase the salary of county elected officials in 2024 by 12%. With a built-in salary increase for future years where they don't have to enact a vote on it again, and increase property taxes 3 years in a row. And if you look at Val Arkoosh's record from when she was appointed in 2015 to now in 2023, I did the math and calculated the difference between the real estate tax millage rate. Your county property taxes have increased 46.8% under the leadership of Val Arkoosh. So she was able to increase taxes by nearly 50% over 7 years and raise your taxes all along the way and still is being rewarded with a cabinet position under Josh Shapiro's governor administration. So it's gone. And I do my best to be that fearless conservative voice for people that share our values that feel like they don't have representation in Philadelphia and the Philadelphia suburbs. And if you take a look, the comparison between me as the Republican minority commissioner in Montgomery County compared to the Republican minority commissioners in Bucks County or Chester County, no one knows who they are because they go on to get along. They don't resist the liberal agenda. I'm the only one who does it, and that's why I upset all the right people, and it shows you that I'm doing something right.
Joe, where do we find All Things Joe Gale?
All Things Joe Gale can be found at joegale.com. That's Gale. JoeGale.com. Anybody wants to host a Cup of Joe, learn more about what's going behind the curtain, behind the scenes in Montgomery County and Philadelphia politics, I'd be happy to come to your home and share my thoughts.
Thank you, Joe, very much.